Welcome to the Chat Box. I'm Emily Regalado, and this is my co-host,
Hannah Algie.
Let's dive into the wonderful world of books.
We're here to bring you a weekly book club experience where we discuss one book in depth, but this week we are also doing a new author highlight segment.
So for now, let's discuss our book of the week, which is Never Lie.
Yeah, so Emily, I recommended this book to you because Frida McFadden is one of my favorite thriller authors. I've read so many of her books. So how would you kind of explain this book?
So basically, Never Lie is about this character, Trisha, and how she is looking for a house with her new husband. And they end up going to this really nice, beautiful house that was owned by an author that was murdered. So this author is kind of interesting because she's also a psychologist. So basically her books are about the psychology of the patients that she dealt with. And Trisha, the main character, finds these tapes about all the basically patients.
Yeah, so we kind of get to hear some of the tapes and learn about some of her patients, and then it just kind of unfolds and spirals into this whole mysterious story. And the ending is crazy. I remember you were so shocked when you texted me and you were like, this is crazy.
It was like plot twist after plot twist. And I was just so in shock at the turn of events. But you have to wait until like the last quarter of the book.
Yeah, like the very, very end of the book is where you get all of the plot twists. So what was your overall rating of the book?
So, well, since it's technically, I don't think I really dived into this, it was an unsolved murder, like no one knew who murdered the author. So, it was like a murder mystery type book, and I usually don't read those. So it was kind of like one of my first experiences with a book like this, but I'd have to rate it a 5-star because it was just so good. It was so like intense and drew you into the story so well.
And it's told in a couple different POVs, which really helps with, dragging you into this story because you get so many different perspectives of what's going on. It's so interesting. So,
definitely. And what would you rate it?
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars as well. I am obsessed. Like, I give pretty much every Frida book 5 stars because I'm obsessed with her writing, and I just think she does it so well. She does thrillers so well. So I gave it 5 stars too.
So yeah, Frida McFadden is basically the author of the book Never Lie, and she's also like conducted a bunch of different books.
Yeah, she has a ton of books. So that's going to be our author highlight this week is going to be Frida McFadden because she's my favorite thriller author. So I brought all of my books that I currently have of hers. So we're going to talk a little bit about them. So we have The Coworker, The Housemaid's Secret, The Locked Door, and The Teacher with us. And then also The Housemaid was the first one of The Housemaid's Secret. I just don't have it with me. But yeah, so these are the books that we have. And Emily, have you read any of these or read any of her other books?
Other than Never Lie, I have not yet read them, but I do have The Teacher on my want to read list. And I know you mentioned that you don't have the original, like the first Housemaid edition, but you do have the second one, which is
The Housemaid's Secret.
The Housemaid's Secret,
which
let's just pull it up.
Yeah.
And I know that The Housemaid is kind of what made Frida McFadden such a famous thriller writer. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so The Housemaid, basically, I read it so long ago, so I can't really tell you a good synopsis of The Housemaid, but The Housemaid's Secret is basically kind of like Verity vibes. So there's a wife who's really sick and ill, and she's living in this room, and then the maid, like the housemaid, and I think she might be a babysitter too, I can't remember. She is trying to, figure out what's wrong with her because she's so secretive, the husband's so secretive about her, so it just kind of goes into that, and she just gets a really in-depth look at their relationship, and it's so interesting. If you like Verity, you'll really like The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret.
And Verity is that book by Colleen Hoover, who's also another super popular author amongst our generation.
Yeah, and then she's actually coming out with a third one. It's called The Housemaid is Watching, I think, in June. I already pre-ordered it, and I'm so excited about it because I love The Housemaid. It's not like a series, but they kind of all go together. So I love this one. This one I also gave 5 stars. And then her most recent book was The Teacher, which was really good. It was kind of interesting. It kind of goes into a teacher-student relationship. So not my favorite thing to read about, but it was still really good. I gave it 3.5, 4 stars. And then we also have The Coworker, which was good. A lot of people like this one. It wasn't my favorite. It's about 2 women who work together in the same office. I gave this one 3.5 stars too. It wasn't my favorite, but I still liked it. And then The Locked Door was really good. It's about this girl who discovers that her dad is a murderer, and it just goes into that, and the locked door implies that he went in the basement and that's where he would murder everybody. So I gave that one 4 stars as well. But Housemaid is like my favorite. Definitely read The Housemaid if you're gonna read a Frida book, and then also Never Lie, of course. We loved Never Lie. Those are my top 3.
That was a lot of information.
I know,
I'm not
sorry.
gonna lie, but
I just love her. I could talk about her all day.
Does Frida McFadden kind of base all her storylines? Like, is there always like a lead is usually a woman that's the lead in her stories?
Yeah, it's usually, I would say, like most of the time it's a woman. There's a couple times where, you know, there's a second point of view, but it's usually.
It's usually,
yeah.
Which I feel like could be understandable since Frida is also a woman, so it's probably easier for her to relate to those characters.
Yeah.
So, definitely. Do you think it's catered for both men and women, though, the series, or is it?
I would say it's definitely more like, you know, women are going to read it, enjoy it more. But, yeah, that's really all I have to say about these books today. I could go on and on and on and on about her, but, yeah.
Well, that's all for this week's edition of the Book Club. We'll leave you to your reading. I'm Emily Regalado.
And I'm Hannah Algie. We'll see you next time on the Chat Box.